Welcome back. We have another surprise special guest for all of you today for our World's Greatest Agent Interviews series, Mr. Dwayne Richins. So, Dwayne, without any further delay, introduce yourself, let them know what you're all about, and let's get rolling.
So Dwayne Richins, been doing real estate for about 8 years. Found a crazy passion in real estate. I do something that's a little bit unique. I'm a door-to-door agent. That's all I've ever done is door-to-door. I've never been a sphere of influence kind of guy, and just dove in and absolutely fell in love with real estate. So it's been a fun ride.
So, I really want to drill down on that because that I think is door knocking is one of the, when done correctly, is one of the most effective ways of generating leads known to man that everyone knows about that nobody does. Did I encapsulate that fairly well?
100%. No one, well, a lot of people just don't do it.
Yeah.
And so they're scared to get out and knock doors. And that's why it's so successful is no one has had someone knock on their door this week that said, oh, yeah, real estate agent just came by. No one has. But cold calling, oh, yeah, tons of people have had people call them.
Well, that's actually a good point. So you're basically saying that all the other things, let's just focus on social media and digital marketing and all that, because that's super oversaturated, right? Everybody and their brother's doing that. But you're right, man. That's a really good point. Like, when was the last time anybody knocked on your door for any damn reason? Nobody does that anymore.
They don't. Yeah. They don't.
So let's talk about you've sold. I mean, you've been a very successful real estate agent. Can you tell them about, just let's go back 8 years and kind of give them your foundational story about how you got into business and any background prior to being in real estate so they can get to know you a little bit better. And then we'll dig into some of your techniques.
Cool. So I'll go back quite a ways. I got a degree in the medical field. I got a degree in Radiologic Sciences, which I then started to advance. And I started a process called RF Oblation, which went in and burned pulmonary arteries, got rid of AFib or heart murmurs, and ended up teaching at Stanford and had a great career there. I had buddies that were doing door-to-door sales and they were killing it. And I was making a 6-figure salary, which was fabulous, but they kept advancing by a ton. So finally, they talked me into going out and selling alarms door-to-door. I went out and tried it, and I was like, man, this isn't that hard. And so I did it for a summer, and I made more in that summer than I'd ever made in my medical career. So I left that, dove into door-to-door sales, and I was top 10 for the alarm company I was with for the next 5 years straight, started making crazy good money. And I started buying investment properties. And I realized most of the agents I worked with, honestly, were not great. And they didn't have good customer service, and they didn't have hustle, and they sat back and waited for me to call them. I was like, man, if I went door to door doing real estate, I think I could crush this. Now, granted, at that time, I was making about $500,000 a year selling alarms. Okay. And so I thought, man, I don't know if I dare jump into real estate. This is a big transaction. It's a house I'm selling. Do I dare dive into this full time and be a door to door guy and quit what I've already done? So I'm going to get my license. I'm going to tiptoe into this. So I got my license. My first month out selling doors or selling real estate, I sold 10 homes. And I slammed on the brakes because honestly, I had no clue what I was doing. I didn't know how to do paperwork. I didn't know what a PR was. I was the guy that hit play on the real estate school and went to the other room and came back and failed the quizzes a couple times until I passed them and then showed up and took the test. And so I didn't know what I was doing at all. So month 3, I sold 14 homes, took month 4 off again, went back and sold alarms. So my first year, I sold 89 homes part-time, Tim.
That's amazing. Oh, I love that. I love the fact you threw the part-time in there too. That's awesome. The funny thing about part-time, our industry craps on part-time agents, but the truth is if you're a part-time agent, it actually it creates a time block on the amount of time you can waste, right? So if you're part-time, you're going to have, I had a guy that was a contractor for the CIA. He listens to this, so he'll appreciate it, right?
Awesome.
I can't say his name. I wish I could, Paul. I won't say your name though, Paul, I promise. Anyway, so he would only work in real estate on the weekends and on Saturday and on Friday. Friday he'd lead generate, Saturday he'd work on his buyers, sometimes partially on Sunday, but usually not. And he was making like $500,000-$600,000 a year because he was getting his stuff done and he was supposed to get it, right? A schedule. Isn't that what we're talking about?
Yes. Yep. 100%.
Yeah. So you said something, I wrote it down. I wrote, define hustle. What does hustle mean? Isn't hustle the sort of secret sauce that, how do you define hustle? How do you teach hustle?
It's where most agents fail. I feel like they think hustle is this. They think they show up at the office, they get their coffee, their donuts, they hang out for a little bit with other agents. The training starts at 9. They sit down, they train for 3 hours, they have lunch, and they think, oh my gosh, I'm hustling. I've been at the office for now 4.5 hours, 5 hours, but they've done nothing in my mind that attributes to hustle. Hustle is getting in front of people that you can close. So in my mind, hustle is where people are doing 250 contacts a week. If you're not doing 250 contacts a week, you're not going to get where you want to be in life or in real estate, because you got to get in front of people. And even you take hustle that people are sitting on phones. I had a guy this last week that dialed 400 contacts, and he talked to 30 people. Out of the 30 people, he was able to have a real estate conversation with about 6. I was like, dude, you talked to 6 people today and you spent 10 hours doing this. That's hustle, but it's the wrong kind of hustle. So you've got to get in front of people and get exposure to people that you can close. Because if you can't close them, you're not going to make any money.
All right. So I wrote down a whole bunch of questions when you were talking, so I appreciate that. All right. So first of all, I want to go back to your first year. So your door knocking, I assume, like, do you remember of the 89 homes you sold, Dwayne, what percent were like sellers versus buyers? There had to have been a lot of listings, no?
So with real estate, that's the cool part about this, Tim. When you knock on a door, you usually get the list and the buy. I'm looking for a no on the door. Have you ever thought about buying, selling, or investing in real estate? I want the no. Because if it's a yes, they've already talked to 5 other agents. They've already prepped to do this. When I get the no, I just help them understand why now is a great time to buy, sell, invest in real estate. I'm their guy. They don't have anybody else. So yes, I'm getting the buy and the sell on probably 85 to 90%. Unless they're moving out of state, I'm getting the buy, but I'm always getting the list.
Okay. So I'm going to go back to what you just said. You said when you knock on a door, you want to do a role play? Are you?
Sure.
Yeah, of course you do.
Love it.
You can't not do a role play, right? All right. I'm going to take the easy job. I'm the seller.
Okay.
What you want me to be not interested? Is that the route?
However you want to roll it. I'm happy with whatever you bring me.
All right, I won't be a jerk. I'll just be a nice seller. Okay.
Cool.
But I'm not interested. Okay. So I'm just prepping you. All right.
Love it.
I'm opening my door and there you are, smiling Dwayne.
Hey, my name's Dwayne. I work for EXP. Did your neighbor say he was going to stop by and see you?
No.
Cool. Main reason I'm here is the market's shifted. Rates have jumped up high. It's all over the place with rates and pricing. Have you ever considered buying, selling, or investing in real estate?
I am not in the market right now for any of those things, but thank you.
Cool. Is this your forever home then?
That's very good. I'm not sure. I mean, we've got 3 kids, and I suppose once Sally is about to graduate from high school, we'll think about putting it for sale.
Cool. So how long do you think that would be? What's your time frame?
Well, Sally's in the 10th grade.
So next couple of years?
Yeah, next couple of years, somewhere in there.
If you could dive in and save a grundle of money by doing it sooner, would you consider it?
No, probably not. I mean, because she's got to graduate. I mean, I don't know. Maybe. I suppose if we could find it depends. What's a bundle of money?
Well, I mean, let's just walk through this. How well do you know the real estate market?
Not really at all. I mean, I see some of the houses in the neighborhood come for sale. That's about it.
Okay. Do you feel like the market's going to go up or down?
Up.
Okay. Why would you say that?
There's a lot of the XYZ company and widget company are bringing in a lot of employees. I know the company I work at, they're bringing in a lot of staff. So seems like everyone, there's a lot of folks moving into town. And in addition to that, I see a lot of people having babies.
No, I hear you. There's a lot of supply and demand issues. And there's a lot of, just like you said, out of state income is coming in like crazy, driving prices up. Now, that being said, do you know how fast we're appreciating on an annual basis?
You locked up a little bit. We're okay.
Tim,
It happens.
do you know?
I hear that.
Go ahead.
Does this happen at the door where there's buffering and people just stop talking to each other?
Sometimes they get a dog that runs up or a kid. So yes, you're right. They do. Yes, I did. I wanted to throw a curve in the ball here, but bottom line is do you know how much prices have gone up over the last 5 years in appreciation?
Actually, I do. I do pay attention to the prices in particular. Yep.
Okay. What is the number you've seen nationwide over the last 5 years? How much have we appreciated?
Nationwide, I've got no idea, but I know that my neighbor's house 5 streets away, which is basically the same house as mine, I know what they sold it for. I know we paid for ours. So it's just easy math.
Okay. So we're up over 50% over the last 5 years in home values, increasing. And there's still a ton of pent-up demand. In fact, in last year, there was 3.9 million homes sold. which was the lowest in the history since 1963. So, and there's tons and tons of people that they're still wanting to buy. They're just nervous about rates and different stuff. So that being said, do you feel like you're going to get a 50% raise over the next 5 years with your job?
A raise in pay?
Yes.
No, probably not. That'd be nice though, but no, probably not.
And now, will you guys be upgrading or downgrading?
We were thinking about moving over to, Lakeway where, price wise, it'll be the same, but it'll probably be a smaller house. Yeah.
Cool. The reason I ask that is a lot of people, as they start looking into this, they look at, hey, what am I going to be making? What am I going to be spending? And bottom line is, if you're the average person's getting a 3 to 5% raise, even if you're downgrading, you could get outpriced out of the market simply because of what the values are doing and as they're shooting up.
All right, let's stop there. So what he's doing is he's getting me to focus on what the up leg is going to cost and making it so that when he said, if you could save money now, what he was insinuating was buy the house that I'm going to eventually buy now at a lesser price than I'd have to pay, 2 or 3 years from now. So that's where he's building in the savings. And also when you have a situation like that, by the way, did you know they revised it? There were like 4.2 million sales. Did you know that?
Oh, they did revise it?
Yeah, they revised it. And there's supposed to be, it's still not that many comparatively, so woo. And they're expecting there to be 1 million more sales this year. So there's going to be a lot more activity.
I think this year's going to be awesome.
Oh yeah, totally. Completely. I feels like that too. Absolutely. There's so much pent up demand from just all corners of the housing market. It's just off the charts. Well, so, hopefully listeners, you guys are getting what he's doing. And I also want you to pay attention to something else. He wasn't wasting any time doing anything other than asking questions. And he was building his questions on the last question that he asked. And the questions were super simple, normal. There were no NLP, ninja, hijinks, high kicking going on. It was just a normal guy, a normal conversation, helping someone just to maybe see an alternative path forward that would result in, you can't argue with what he said. It definitely now the only thing you could argue is like, well, the house that they're in will continue to appreciate. And so maybe that'll zero out the hypothetical additional expense they'll pay on the next one. But who knows? Logically, it makes sense.
But in most cases, Tim, where I'm knocking, I'm looking for people to upgrade, right?
Yeah, That's true.
I'm looking at areas where I'm knocking in townhomes, condos that are high turnover because I want that client 4 times. I want to sell their townhome. I want to help them buy a starter home. I want them to sell the starter home, get into the next home, and then help them sell that and get into their luxury.
Okay, so that's really important too. So if you're now, we have had coaching clients that door knock. Well, there's a couple that are on Bravo TV, and they got their start by door knocking in like Beverly Hills of ridiculously expensive houses. So it does work in that kind of environment for sure. But what he's suggesting, and I hope you guys are listening to it, he's specifically targeting people that most assuredly are going to be moving up. So that's how he gets his 2 transactions. And then down the road, he gets multiple transactions on top of that. And by the way, that first little townhome that he's listing, the one he's knocking on, he's probably going to double in that to the buyer that's going to buy the house because most of those people come to the market without having a realtor. Did I get it right?
Nailed it. Yes. Yeah. 25% of the time we're double siding. National average is 2. So
yeah, the thing the first time you and I talked, the reason it's like I felt like you're a brother from another mother because you don't pay. There's no fancy marketing. There's no fancy scripts. There's no fancy really anything. It's just good, practical, honest, ethical, work. Basically, that's all it is. It's doing what you don't want to do, and you don't want to do it at the highest level. And I like also too that you attached it to 250 contacts, and I wrote down some questions around that for the sake of the listeners, right? So why 250, and what is a contact?
Contact is having that question. Have you ever thought about buying, selling, or investing in real estate? You've got to have a real estate related conversation in order to count it. And you've got to ask them the question, have you thought about doing it? Do you want to do it? Because if they haven't, then you need to help them understand why they need to, but you've got to have a way to close them. So that's a contact. Have you ever thought about buying, selling, or investing in real estate? And I figure you need to be doing 50 a day. It's just a number I came up with. There's no rhyme or reason, but if you're doing 250 contacts a day, you will explode your real estate business. I've trained the Rookie of the Year for 6 years straight, and I know that it works if you put in the numbers. You've got to have.
Did you say 250 contacts a day?
No, sorry, a week. A week.
I was going to say,
is a lot.
Yeah, that's like.
I've got a guy that we coach in Singapore, and he started doing over 600 contacts a week, and his business has blown up. He called us and he's like, "Dwayne, I have a problem. I took 6 listings this week. And I've already started knocking, and I'm going to double that probably this week. And granted, that didn't happen just right away, but within 2 months of him doing that many contacts, he didn't know how to handle all the work that was coming in. But
I
that's
know.
insane. 600 contacts. He's doing 14 hours of door knocking a day.
Well, I'm going to guess he's also knocking in buildings, right? Where it's
Yes,
easy to get out all the doors. Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, if you're knocking in the middle of rural, Tennessee or whatever, that's
You're
not
not getting that many. Yep.
And it also should be worth noting, in some parts of the country, if you roll up on somebody's property, that's going to be an invitation for a buckshot in your butt as you're running away. So apply this strategically.
Yes.
You're in Utah, right?
Utah. Yep.
Yep. Okay. And that's a combination of sort of suburbia, but also urban type stuff. So you're saying, what I'm hearing you say is you're focusing on this works at a high level, any level, but a high level in lesser expensive areas where there's a density of doors, basically. Makes sense.
Yes. Yeah. You don't want to be knocking on 5-acre subdivisions. And I've knocked all over the US. I've knocked in Chicago. I've knocked in Baltimore. I've knocked in Texas. I've knocked in Missouri. I've knocked in Mississippi. I've knocked in all kinds of different areas. So I understand all the different demographics. But yes, to get high contacts, you need to be in populated areas that you can get in front of people.
It's like if you were a kid and you're going, it's Halloween and you're going door to door for candy, right? I mean, it's the same.
Great explanation. Yes, absolutely.
You have little kids, you understand.
Yes, I do.
So let's talk about, for example, we talked about the type of neighborhood you want to knock in. We kind of did a loose role play on a script. We talked about keeping questions focused, which is really great. What do you want them to have with them when they're going door knocking? Like, should they leaving a flyer? Let me know about that.
Great question. Nothing. I do not want you to show up as a door-to-door salesman, because if they look through the peephole, if they look through their Ring doorbell, you've got a briefcase, you're dressed in a super fancy dress or a nice suit, they're going to think you're a salesperson, right? So I want you to come across as the average person. Collar shirt, what Tim's wearing is perfect. Nike golf pants, something like that. But I don't carry around CMAs. I don't carry around business cards. In fact, I don't give business cards out. I literally want to give them all of the information I need directly from me, because I am the local expert. And if I ever give anything, it will be a magnet that sticks to their fridge, because let's be honest, guys, every one of you guys that have gotten a business card from somebody in the last month, do you still have it? How about the last week? You probably still don't have it. People throw those away. And it's the best way to get someone off your door is, hey, yeah, I appreciate you coming by. Can I get your card? And so give them a magnet that has all the city numbers on it: poison control, police, fire, ambulance, libraries, rec centers, that kind of stuff. It will stick to the fridge and it will last forever. But it needs to be small and in your back pocket to where they don't see that when they.
And obviously your name's on there too, right? Your name and phone number. Yeah.
And your lender, because you get your lenders to pay for it.
Yeah, that's right. I've seen people do different iterations of that. And the other thing you could also do is, like, for a babysitter, all the emergency numbers, and then numbers where you can write in, babysitter, grandma, whatever. So if the babysitter's there, she's got all the emergency numbers for the relatives and whatever. But there's a lot of companies that sell these things. You don't have to overthink it or redesign it yourself.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So you mentioned how you dress. So that's obviously an important thing too. Too fancy, people are going to think you're selling something they're not interested in. Not fancy enough, they think you're going to, somehow try to, break into their house. So where's the happy medium? Or is it depend on, like, how much do you want them dressing? Like, if you're door knocking in a beach city, should they look like they're beach people, or should they look like one notch above? Or what's your advice?
I'd go one notch above. I mean, you probably could pull it off. I've never tried in shorts and sandals in Hawaii and knock doors. I would probably still go the business casual. You still want to look like a professional. You want to look like what you're doing. I would say business casual is by far the best way to go, because then you're not too high, you're not too low, and you're going to connect with them and they will feel the professionalism.
I agree. The way to explain it best is whatever is one notch above how everyone else is dressing. Just one notch, not 10 notches. You don't want to look like you're a mortician, but one notch. Like his great shirt is like probably one notch above me in a golf shirt, right? So We're totally vibing. But if he's, so these are silly questions, but they matter, because, analytical minds, people are going to start, oh my gosh, all these little details that I'm forgetting. Or I need to resolve first. I'm going to study it more on Facebook. I'm going to, take a survey, read some more books. So sort of helping those people that are getting ready to get started. Everything you've said, everything Julie and I talk about on this podcast is very practical. It doesn't cost anything. I'm going to say this again because it's so damn important. There's no referral fees. Everybody's gotten so conditioned in this industry to thinking, I'm going to do business. referral fee is a cost of doing business. No, it's not if you generate your own business. So hold on, I got to turn on my vacuum. It's about to get started. Oh, there goes Julie. She's gonna kill it. Roomba. Anyway, so along those lines, what are you thinking? Vacuum distracted me.
Well, I mean, I completely agree with you. It's you just got to wow them a little bit. You got to be professional. They've got to trust you, and you gain trust honestly by the way your mannerisms build a lot of trust, especially door to door. When you open the door to somebody, the smile, the confidence, the way you're dressed, your appearance, all of that will build trust without you opening your mouth. So
So
that's
let's do some micro steps. So I'm knocking on a door. I'm listening to what you're saying. I want you to tell me exactly the micro steps of what I'm supposed to do, because I know there's micro steps. Like, just to tee you off, right? In our book and in our coaching, we tell people to knock on the door and take a half step back. That way they won't think you're, trying to you're not being too aggressive, those types of things, right? So
yeah.
what are your micro steps that you tell people to take?
So micro steps, knock on the door. We take a couple steps back. And then I turn sideways. I never want to be directly facing the client, broad shoulders, whatever, to your client. You want to be sideways to them so it's not as intimidating. Women by far are the best door knockers in the world. They have immediate confidence and people trust them immediately as women knocking doors, so they kill it. Men tend to have a little bit more skepticism and they want to wonder why, right? So from that standpoint, when they open the door, I don't reach out to shake their hand. You can, but for the most part, I want to keep myself back and just with a smile and catch where they're at. You've got to mirror your client. If they come out and they're just like, what are you doing at my door? You don't want to mirror the negative right back to them, but just put a smile. Say, hey, did I catch you at a bad time? And then move forward with that. But
So
yeah, just smile.
you said something there too, and I'm liking how you're not making it overly complicated. I really, honestly, I'm so burned out on people thinking that you said you're essentially reading the person you're talking to. Everyone does that naturally, right?
Yes.
We're all natural as babies. We learn how to read people's micro expressions, and then years later, people come up with these fancy ways of science, pseudoscience to try to explain the ability to read somebody. And yeah, some people have a better skill set than others, but the truth is, we all know how to do it. And it's fascinating to me that people think doing this type of work, really doing real estate in general, lead generating on your own, requires some sort of advanced degrees and, again, all this mindset, NLP, all this complicated stuff. And it really doesn't. You're saying knock on the door, use common sense, take a little half step back, don't look super nice, but look nice, and be ready to know what to say and how to say it. And it's not complicated. Am I oversimplifying it?
No, that's 100%. Confidence is key, because I think the biggest problem agents have when they knock on the door, they step back, they are scared to death when someone opens that door. And you can read that also from the other side coming back, right? As a seller or a buyer coming back to us, they could look at you going, oh my gosh, this person's scared to death to talk to me. And that immediately destroys the pitch.
Well, that's an awesome point. And really, there's no way to overcome your fear of knocking on a door other than knocking on a door, and then another one, and then another one, and then another one. It's just like everything else, or maybe, making phone calls or having conversations with strangers and all the rest of it. The only way to push through it is to push through it. There are no shortcuts. Let's talk about shortcuts, because they got to grind you like they grind me. So what are the things that you think agents are being sold to believe about, let's just say, lead generation or real estate in general? That, okay, here we go. I'm reading your micro expressions, and you and I are sharing a wavelength about the grossness that's out there right now. What are the things that get you really crazed the most?
Well, I think that what boils my blood the most is the fact that they bring on new agents, and what most brokerages, your big box stores, all these people, the first thing they tell you to do is contact your SOI. Gather 300 names and then bug them to death until they want to buy or sell real estate with you. Ask for referrals and hit social media and do all these things. But in reality, if people know you, this is your friends and family, so they should know you well. They know you're a new agent. They know you don't sell a lot of real estate. If you're posting all over social media, they still know you don't sell a lot of real estate. Why in the world would they trust you with the most expensive investment financially in their lives? And it kills me. Because I think the biggest thing that most box stores are doing is they know they can get 2 or 3 deals out of a person from their friends and family, and then they pull a huge chunk of commission out of it, and they don't care what happens to them after that. And that's why 90% of real estate agents are out of the industry within their first year.
Yeah, I agree. It's even worse than that too, because in the last 15 years, really since it all came around, and it's been normalized to buy leads now. Then there's all these other companies that have basically got into business. I know buyer leads too.
Yeah.
I don't understand why anyone would ever buy a buyer lead. It's just insane. You have to have one listing and you do a little bit of surface level marketing and do some open houses and let the neighbors know about it. You have to beat the buyers off with the stick. It's crazy.
Right.
It's always been like that. And yet people are willing to pay 43% to these lead generation companies. But the point is in the last 15 years, there's so many agents, brokers, office managers, certainly agents that have gotten into the business. And it's the first thing they've been told to do is buy leads. Okay, here's what you're going to do. You're going to max out your credit card. You're going to buy some crappy leads, and you're going to hope and pray that they actually, nobody, in a big way, I feel sorry for them, because a lot of the people that are telling these other people this bad advice don't know any better, because they've never learned themselves how to be proactive lead generators, which is what you and I are talking about.
Yes.
Ultimately being a proactive lead generator versus passive, where you're waiting for it to come to you. And so I think you and I will probably agree that the number one thing that we're hoping people understand is they don't have to pay referral fees if they're willing to do what they don't want to do, when they don't want to do it at the highest level. In any market, you can be a proactive lead generator. And that means when you make $100,000 and you're doing it the way he's prescribing, or frankly, the way Julie and I also suggest you do it, you're going to keep probably before taxes, after broker split, $80,000. I mean, or you can basically hope and pray and spend a lot of money and buy business. Can I share with you what my big bugaboo is? Because you'll get a kick out of it.
Yeah, love it.
Branding. Branding drives me crazy, because what people are being convinced to do is spend torrid amounts of money on on essentially branding. And the branding is supposed to make you look like you're successful. And then somehow magically the branding is going to attract people who want to do business with you. It doesn't make any sense to me. So if you want to be successful, the way you're successful is you go out there and help people, buy or sell real estate. You don't try to convince the world you're successful and thinking somehow magically the clouds are going to magically part and leads are going to shine down, rain down on you. Go out and solve problems. Go out and do what you don't want to do, and you don't want to do it at the highest level. And what your branding is going to be are the sold signs, or the happy buyers, those people that are, singing your praises because you actually, sold, you help them transact. That's where you build business. There's no shortcuts. He's not talking about any shortcuts. He's talking about real work. So what's the hardest part of doing what you ask people to do? I mean, other than getting them to do it.
That's probably the hardest part. I think people understanding the mindset. I laugh at what you're saying, Tim, because I tell people this all the time. I didn't even have a CRM for 5 years. I didn't follow up. I just went out and got in front of enough people and I closed enough people. And it's crazy because people look at me and go, what? You didn't have like a big website and you didn't have all these campaigns and drip campaigns and everything else hitting these people? I was like, no, I went and worked, people. So I think the biggest thing is having people have the right mindset. Real estate's hard. It's going to take work. You need to have a coach. You need to dive in and get trained by the right people. Too often people are getting trained by people that don't sell real estate or don't sell it at a high volume, never have. And, you've got to put in the effort in order to get the reward. You never get anything handed to you in life. You never should expect that. And too many people get into real estate thinking, oh, it's a great market. Oh, there's tons of money in it. I just got to sell a house and I'm going to make 15 to 30 grand. Oh my gosh, I should do real estate. But what they don't understand is there's a lot of grind behind it. There's a lot of work that you don't like to do. Prospecting sucks. I don't care if it's door knocking, cold calling, however you do it, sucks. You got to do it to build a big business before you have repeat and referral clients. Don't believe you're going to walk in and people are just going to start calling you nonstop saying, hey, please help me sell real estate or buy real estate. It's not going to work that way. So get that out of your minds today. Jump into crazy good coaching programs like what Tim's got, what we do, and learn how to do it the right way. And then you'll reap the rewards.
Oh, dude, there's so much. I'm like, you're motivating me listening to you talk. So yes, the hardest part is getting people to do the real work of real estate. The hardest part is to get people to do what they don't want to do when they don't want to do it. And I'm sure you're discovering this too. You already know this. The older people get, and if they've taken shortcuts their entire lives, the more they regret the shortcuts. And so what motivates me at almost 54 is really doing whatever it takes to break through to all of the people out of all ages that they have, that this is the right place at the right time. This is certainly the right market. You and I will agree, especially in any kind of proactive lead generation, because nobody else is doing it effectively.
Right. Yeah.
And it's not too late for them to be as successful as they want to be, as successful as they'll allow themselves to be. But they got to stop looking for shortcuts. There are no damn shortcuts. And prospecting, I don't even want to say it. It does suck. It always sucks. But that's the reason it works. But what are the other things that really suck that work? I can think of a lot of them. Saving money, working out. I mean, the list of things, like if you listeners or viewers were to write a list down right now of the things that you want to do the least in real estate for lead generation, write down, I'll keep it easy, 3 things. Write down 3 things. So Julie and I have done this billions of times in front of groups. Write down 3 things you will never do, no matter what, for the sake of lead generation real estate. 1's going to be door knocking, 2's going to be calling people, and 3 is going to be some iteration of those things. In other words, I mean, Julie and I were at an event last year, and it was small. It was an office, like 50 people or something. We drove there, and we kind of, just because we counted the number for sale by owner signs, and into this little country club where we were doing this thing, we passed 3, right? And Julie and I wrote down the names and the phone numbers. And then we were talking about lead generation, whatever. And I asked that question, what are the 3 things you'll never do? And write those things down. And then I said, and then I said, well, I have a list right now of 3 sellers in this very community that want to put their homes for sale. And then I did a fake auction. How much would you pay for these leads? And I started out at 30%. I got all the way up to 60%. That they'd be willing to pay me for a referral fee for those 3 leads. They were getting a little competitive and playing with me, But the moral of the story is those signs. Then I said, well, Julie and I passed these on the way here. They're right out there. You drove past them. Did any of you guys notice the signs? Did any of you guys write down the phone numbers? They never do, right? But that's the thing that is puzzling and bizarre to me, is that agents kill themselves spending all this money on branding and marketing and buying leads. And we're surrounded with people that want to buy or sell real estate at all times. You really drilled down on the door knocking thing, which I appreciate. But if you're in a market where there's a lot, like in your market, for example, we had a great coaching client. I don't remember his name, but he used to clean up doing notice of defaults. Oh, nobody else was working them. Yeah, clean up. And he had no competition. We have people that are doing really well with working probate, calling probate attorneys. In some markets, we have agents that are doing really well calling expireds. Like we have a guy is Chuck Williamson. He's the number 5 or 4 individual agent GCI earner at eXp Realty. Okay. And you made me laugh when you said you didn't know how to work a CRM for 5 years. I had to show him how to use Facebook. Okay. And he's like your age. Okay. All he does is he works expired listings. All he does is call, and he holds himself accountable, making so many contacts a day. And this dude makes over $1 million net to him per year. And like nobody outside of his market's ever heard of him, because he's not trying to make himself famous. There's an old Charlie Munger quote that says, don't try to make yourself famous, try to make your work famous, or the result you get from other people from your work famous. And that's exactly what you're saying. So I really appreciate it. Sorry, you excited me, so I had to get on my sandbox.
No, I love it.
Yeah. So you are at eXp Realty.
Yes.
And you are bringing a lot of other people over to eXp Realty. Why is eXp Realty in alignment with your philosophy on how to lead generate and run a very profitable real estate business?
Oh my gosh, you can open up a soapbox here. eXp has probably been the biggest move I've ever made. And I'm going to tell you why, you guys. I've been with, I was only with one other brokerage, and I'm going to just call it out. Keller Williams is where I started. Okay. They do not allow you to expand and grow. And I can give really good definitions here. I was a top recruiter for 3 years in a row. And it wasn't because of anything other than just my work ethic and the numbers I was, bringing in. So people would reach out to me and say, hey, Dwayne, can I come join your team? And they would come and they would join Keller Williams. I took a 50% split on my team. It's not what we're doing now, but at that point, it's taking a 50% split. Keller Williams took 21%. The agents actually made 29%. They can't live doing that. And so there's no expansion, no growth, no ability to expand. So I left and started my own brokerage. Then I wanted to expand across the United States. I'm like, hey, I want to take this bigger. In 2 years, we had over 100 agents, started a lending company, title company, insurance company, all these things. And I'm like, I can't get outside of Utah with what I'm doing in my own brokerage. So I thought, went back to my KW roots, and I thought, hey, I can go and I can build an expansion team through KW. They have brick and mortar buildings everywhere. So I started flying to Atlanta every week, and I recruited 40 people in a month to KW. And guess what? They got super nervous because the training I was teaching, the number of people I was acquiring. They're like, oh, Dwayne's just going to build big teams. He's going to leave us, and he's going to take all these agents with us. So the whole scarcity mindset over 3 market centers there went and caused them to up the caps on everybody that I had recruited, which then caused them to say, hey, we don't want to stay here if we're going to get a double cap. So I quit Keller Williams again and said,
you just said something, double cap. So you are having, when you're with your previous scenario, like EXP, there's one cap everywhere. Everywhere in the country, you have one cap. You're paying it $16,000 as an individual agent. If you're part of a team, it's $8,000. And so when you go to different market centers, you're saying they're making you pay a cap in that market center and then a cap in that market center?
Well, they were making us pay a cap to the market center, and then they would add an additional amount to cap on my team, which I thought was crazy. And it was just because of a scarcity mindset. They were worried I was going to gut them because I was providing training and they were not. And so people were gravitating to me like crazy in a month. And so at that point, I bailed from there, and EXP was placed. With EXP in August, and we have built a massive organization in just a short period of time. We've brought on, I think my downline right now has got about 35 people in it in less than right around 6 months. We've added, I've got about 40 people in coaching, and it's all because of the expand and reach that I can get with EXP. I can bring people on from anywhere, and they can join me, and there's benefit mutually for everybody involved as they grow. And it's amazing.
Yeah, I know it is. It's amazing. Well, I mean, so if you're listening internationally, he also is talking about you because there's EXPs, 22 or 24 different countries. I always forget. We're always adding new countries, and any of the 50 states, obviously, in Canada and all the rest of it too, in Central America. You don't speak Spanish, do you?
I do.
Oh, yep. That's right. I did remember that about you. Yeah. Yep. Remind me why you speak Spanish?
I lived in Guatemala for 2 years.
I remember that. Yes. Okay. That's awesome. Okay. Well, if you are in Guatemala, which I don't think we're open yet, but we're in Dominican Republic and all over Central America and Mexico. So there you go. This is your guy. So why are so many, I mean, you are without a doubt a rock star. And in my mind, you're a huge, frankly, a very much needed inspiration in the industry because you're telling the truth and you're telling people to do the real work of real estate. You're frankly not a BS artist. You're getting people real results. Like, guys, listen, if you're thinking about doing something, especially for the sake of lead generation, and somebody says, well, it'll work eventually, maybe sometime, or you have to send more postcards, or marketing branding works over time, it's a long-term investment. Do you guys have a long-term to invest? Have you actually thought about how much money it is? When you're doing proactive lead generation, especially like what he's talking about, door knock, boom, boom, door knock, seller, buyer, buyer, right? I mean, I don't know what you guys are trying to accomplish if it's not helping people and buying houses and making money. I mean, it's not ultimately the reason you're in the business. And to his first point, which is so awesome, you don't have any competition because people aren't being raised to know how to door knock anymore. Or by the way, a lot of times over the phone calling too. Everybody is being raised right now how to do a fancy TikTok video. I mean, that's real common. Everyone's doing that. Like you get into real estate nowadays, and the first thing you do, you go to your office meeting and they're telling you all the latest TikTok dances. I'm trying to make you guys laugh, but I'm also trying to make you be introspective so you realize the insanity of it. Why did you get into business? What are you thinking? I know we're vibing, but like I told you we would. By the way, these are the questions that I prepared, and as I suggested, he and I won't use any of them.
It's great because we can get the real stuff that matters.
That's right. So, I mean, as far as when I was just riffing, what were you thinking?
But it's true. You take these young kids that are coming in, and that's what they want to do is they want to go film the funny reels. I mean, reels are what's in now. I'm going to go get this reel for real estate, and I'm going to build a massive business. Did that take the professionalism out of it? In most cases, yes. I mean, I'm not going to call someone off a reel and go invest and buy $1 million house. And so, guys, the easy way is not going to get you where you need to be. And sitting behind a desk 24 hours a day, 10 hours a day, whatever it is, trying to pitch over social media, go post your success. That's what I would tell you to post on social media. I just sold this house. Congratulations to the Smiths. They just bought their 3rd duplex with me. They're cash flowing this much. What a crazy addition to the real estate portfolio. Congratulations to the Johnsons, who just sold their house in 5 days. They bought their dream home, and it was so fun to work with them. That's what you should be posting, is success, because that will drive more success to you.
100%. And it's also, I was just thinking how obvious this should be to everybody. Social media, like if you're doing a lot of TikTok videos, look at the demographics on TikTok. Are those people buyers or sellers? I don't think so. Those people are in 6th grade.
Yes.
I mean, I'm trying to make you laugh, but hopefully you guys get it.
Spot on.
Whereas when you're listening to what he's saying, you're going to knock on a door. That person already owns a home. They already like real estate. Chances are, because it's his first time buyer home, they're going to want to sell it, or at least, maybe buy another one as an investor. They've kind of already pre-qualified themselves as being a higher level prospect than the picture who you might attract from putting a picture of your pizza on Instagram. Look, the fact is the social media stuff is fantastic to reinforce, so that you got the proactive lead generation. That's what we're talking about. That's where you actually help people make money. That's where you have to do what you don't want to do, and you don't want to do at the highest level. And then you supplement the proactive lead generation with the passive lead generation. What everyone's been doing, and the reason he said it, there's such a absolutely, heartbreaking rate of failure in this industry. And it's only increasing. The amount of time that people are staying in real estate is actually shrinking. It's not expanding. It's because nobody is telling you guys the truth about doing the proactive lead generation. Everyone's rushing to do the passive lead generation because it's easy. There's no resistance. If I tell you to put a bunch of stuff on Instagram, now you can get business from that, but what you're going to discover is it reinforces the real work. If you want to make money quickly, you want to be successful quickly. I mean, Julie and I sold 103 houses our first year, doing a lot of the same stuff that he did. And that's how we did it. And that's what, if you ask me today, tell me I want to be successful in real estate, I'm going to tell you the same thing he's going to tell you, because it's the truth. Yeah. Now, if you want to do the other stuff, it's fun. Julie and I do a lot on social. I enjoy it. It's great. But it's going to enhance. That way, when someone's doing a search on you, they just met Dwayne and he knocked on their door and interested and have a listing appointment tomorrow with him. I might go on Instagram or Facebook or whatever and see what's up. And I'm going to see what I'm going to see on this guy. Sold listing, sold listing, sold listing. Right? You guys get it? It's not hard. Stop making this business so damn difficult. That's the beauty of it, is it's so elegantly simple. So yeah.
It really is. No, it really is. You nailed it.
You are, without a doubt, if I were an agent looking for a sponsor at EXP, I would absolutely have you on my short list, if the only one I would consider. So if someone wants to talk with you about joining EXP and having you as their sponsor, whether they're a new agent, a seasoned veteran agent, what's your cell phone number, and do you want them to call you or text you?
Either way, I mean, I'm open. You guys, cool thing about my business now is I'm selling $30 million a year in real estate. It's taking me an hour and a half to do it. I have time, and I invest it back into the people that I'm with. My sponsor, the people that have chosen me as their sponsor, are killing it because I'm investing in them to help them find success. Because guess what, guys? Success breeds success. So as you're successful in my downline underneath me, guess what? People are going to be calling you saying, how are you so successful? And as you say, hey, I joined, I have a great sponsor, and I've been killing it, they're going to do the same thing and join under you, which creates that beautiful magic that EXP brings. So yes, please reach out to me. I'd love to help you get to that next level. My goal is to take every agent in my organization to 15 million in production within their first year.
15 million each, not cumulatively.
Per person. Yes.
Yeah, per person, not cumulative.
You guys think that's so simple. That is so simple to do. I mean, you go sell, you need to find 4 people that you talk to and close in a month. And,
okay, stop. I want to earn $15 million in real estate this year. I want you to be my sponsor, DXP. What's your cell phone number?
801-243-4544.
Can you write that down so I can actually use that as a screenshot? Do you have a pencil and paper nearby?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, of course you're analog. Of course you have a pencil and paper nearby. Make it big. All right, and then I want you to walk me through your one-page plan to sell 15 million in real estate this year. I want you to tell me what I know you've got it memorized. Of course you do. Break it down. Contacts, the whole thing.
So 250 contacts a week. Okay. Which means you need to find 2 people a month that are going to buy and sell with you. When they do that, consistently doing that over time, you're going to have 48 closings in a year, and you will hit the market. Can you read that?
Yeah. 801-243-4544.
You got it.
All
But
right.
doing that 48 homes a year, you're going to hit 15 million. And there is no reason in heck with you hitting 15 million soon as you join EXP that people aren't reaching out to you. And you need to be posting that. That's another social media worthy post. Hey guys, I joined EXP. My sponsors and upline helped me sell 15 million my first year. When the average real estate agent sells 3 homes a year, if you're not with EXP, you need to call me. And that would be your pitch. After you have succeeded in what you need to do, you will bring people to you. Like
so your 250 contacts, we're buffering a little bit. I've got to make sure it's all good.
Love it.
Okay, you're 250 well, I'm in Puerto Rico, you're in Utah. The fact that this even works at all is crazy, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it is. So you're 250 contacts, that's door knocking. And so you're going to run into, you basically, statistically from doing 250 doors, or rather having 250 conversations with folks from knocking on doors, you're going to stumble across a certain percent of those people. There are going to be differing levels of motivation, of interest. And you're saying statistically, if you make 1,000 contacts with people per month, you're going to stumble across, even if, let's be honest, Dwayne, you are terrible, you're going to stumble across 2 people per month that are going to transact with you. I think that is like there's honestly, when I heard you say that number, I was thinking to myself, they're going to come across way more than that.
Well, for sure.
2 is a low bar. And in some markets, your average commission is going to be $20,000, $30,000.
Yeah.
And look, door knocking, definitely, I said, James Harris was the person I was referring to and his partner. And yeah, guys, door knocking works even in the most expensive marketplaces. It just does. And it's like you have to have a higher level of sales skills to make phone calls, for sure. You have to have, in making marketing and branding and all that stuff work, that's a whole bit, different. But when you're door knocking and you're face to face with somebody, people are instantly nicer to you, and you're reading them and they're reading you. And yeah, at first it sucks. Prospecting sucks. Dwayne said it correctly. But after a while, you start becoming more comfortable with it. When you start having more interaction, when you start realizing you're connecting with people, and now all of a sudden you're making money. Now all of a sudden your life has changed. And here's the magic of all this, proactive lead generation in general. You can wake up any single day and you can create business for yourself. Proactive lead generation. You don't have to wait around for some lead source to try to offer to sell you a lead for 43%, or wait for somebody to, hey, are you taking in any new clients in your marketplace, or any of the rest of it, right? You can go out and you can control your own destiny. Isn't that the reason you got into real estate? It is, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I love it, dude. I do. And I really appreciate you. And I really appreciate what you're doing. And I really appreciate your no bullshit approach to it. Honestly, I do. I respect it. I wish more people were out there like you. But for your sake, I'm glad there isn't, because like door knocking, you don't have a lot of competition.
It's very true. Love it. I tell people all the time, Tim, that a blind squirrel could get that nut. And literally, you're going to, even if you don't even know what to say, if you'll knock on the doors, you will have people open the door and go, oh my gosh, yes, we've been looking to sell. We didn't know who to call. Can you help us sell our house?
100%. There's every that is exactly what will happen, because they don't know somebody else. And people don't sit around and, it's amazing, but for the most part, most consumers don't sit around and ask for your resume. Oh, hold on now. How long have you been in real estate? When Julie and I sold over 100 houses our first year, we were in our early 20s. We didn't know what the hell we were doing. We figured it out along the way. We didn't have coaches. We didn't have training. There was no YouTube, right? There was the internet when the consumer internet was live 2 years after Julie, or 3 years, in like 96 or 7, right?
Yep.
So we were doing this by figuring it out along the way. You guys have people like him, and fortunately Julie and I as well, to make it so you can get results a hell of a lot faster. But the real true bottom line, and I want you, if you wanted them to take away one thing from our time today, one thing, what would be the prevailing message?
Go do what other people's won't. Go and study, learn, get educated from those top people, get an upline professional to help you that cares about your business, that wants you to grow, and then do the work. Do the work and you will be successful.
That's it. Nope, that's perfect. We've just peaked. All right. So if they want to call you about sponsoring or learning more about your amazing coaching program, how can they do that? Do you have your pink paper again?
I got it right here.
All right.
801-243-4544.
Okay, put it down here. So I might want to use that for the screenshot for the publicity. Put it right here.
That
No,
better?
put it closer, but not over your face.
Okay.
Right there. Perfect. 801-243-4544. So just call or text them. Let them know that you listened to this podcast or watched the video and you're interested in learning more. And he's a great guy, obviously. We love him. And I sincerely appreciate being your partner at EXP, buddy. I really do. It's my pleasure and my honor to be on the Sojourn with you, truly.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All you guys have a fantastic day and keep listening. Thank you for keeping this number one listen to daily podcast for real estate professionals in at least the United States. It's Julie and I's pleasure and honor to frankly be part of your lives and for you to be part of ours. Have a fantastic day and we'll talk with you on the show tomorrow.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.